Hello, this is Access Arts Live. We're taking a moment here because we live stream on various platforms, and it takes a moment before all of them are linked up with the live stream and ready to go. But I think they're all ready to go now. Hello, I'm John Paval again with Access Arts Live, here to bring you an update, a video update on the live streams of the performing arts, which will be taking place this weekend. And there are an awful lot of them, much more than usual, which I'm very happy about. The first two, I think we already told you about at the beginning of the week, but briefly, today, starting at 5 o'clock Central European Time, 11 in the morning on the East Coast, 8 in the morning on the West Coast, the International Theatre Festival at Sibiu will be live streaming Tango del Suburbio, which is a performance piece by a duo called Bandini and Chiacchiaretta. Bandini plays the guitar, and Chiacchiaretta plays the bandoneon, and they've been performing Argentine-style tangos for over 20 years now at top festivals and theaters around the world. They've toured in more than 50 countries, and they're one of these groups which enjoys both high praise from the critics and widespread popularity with audiences in general, which I'm telling you from experience, I know this is hard to do. And then after that, a couple hours later at 7 o'clock Central European Time, 1 in the afternoon Eastern Daylight Time, and 10 a.m. on the West Coast in the U.S., there's also from the Sibiu Festival, there's a Fado concert with Francisco Moreira, and he's one of the standouts among the new generation of Fado singers in Portugal. He won the Grand National Fado Prize a few years ago. He's collaborated with some top name Fado artists like Carminho and Helder Moutinho. And he made his debut as a composer now on his latest album, Lugar, in 2023. So you'll probably be hearing some of that. And he'll be backed by an ensemble on guitar, piano, and percussion. Both of these concerts, like all of the Sibiu Festival offerings, do come at a modest fee. It's 30 Romanian lei, which is €6 or $6.50 in US dollars. Then on Saturday, yet another Sibiu Festival offering at 6 o'clock Central European Time, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast in the US, an AFRIQUE, an African circus. And this is artistic circus. This particular show was created and directed and choreographed by Yamusa Bangura, who's a native of Guinea, and it's about daily life in Guinea. It's produced by Calabante Productions. It includes what they call visual and also acoustic choreography. I'm not sure what acoustic choreography is, but you can tune in and find out. It includes acrobats, human pyramids, contemporary Afro-American jazz, Afro jazz music, and music of the kora, which is a stringed instrument with 21 strings. It's got a long arm, and it's got a calabash gourd resonator at the bottom. And that instrument dates back to 13th century Mali. So if you're interested in African roots, go to town. Later in the evening, or the afternoon or daytime if you're in the United States, are two more classical offerings. The Paris Opera is live streaming their new production of Gaspare Spontini's La Vestale at 7 in the evening, European time, 1 in the afternoon, Eastern Daylight Time, and 10 in the morning on the West Coast in the US. This comes at a charge of €14.90 or 16 US dollars. Now, this is an opera that was first composed at the beginning of the 19th century, the early 1800s. It was dedicated to Napoleon's lover, Josephine, and was a huge triumph from its first performance in 1807. But it hasn't been performed by the Paris Opera for over 150 years. No one really knows why. They've dusted it up, come up with an entirely new production, and here it is for you. It's a long opera. It has not one but 2 intermissions. So prepare to spend the evening with it, or the afternoon or morning if you're watching in the United States. And then this will be followed at 8 o'clock European time, 2 in the afternoon on the East Coast, 11 in the morning on the West Coast, Alan Gilbert, the inimitable conductor, will be directing the Elbphilharmonie in their season finale. It includes a selection from Smetana's Ma Vlast, the Fatherland, but it's not the Le Molda, which you usually hear, It's almost elevator music by now. It's a section called Vyšehrad, which is the name of the royal castle in Prague. Then Leonidas Kavakos, the Greek master, will be playing Mozart's Violin Concerto in G minor. And Gilbert winds up the season with the ever-popular Dvorak's Ninth Symphony from the New World, the one that Dvorak wrote when he was directing the National Conservatory of Music in New York back in the 1890s and doing a lot of research in American folk music. So that's for Saturday. Now, late Saturday, if you're on the West Coast, or early in the morning on Sunday, there will be 2 live streams coming to you from the Australian Digital Concert Hall, which this is not wintertime in Australia, so they're not winding down. They're cranking up to be doing all kinds of live streaming through the summer. So we'll be telling you about that as the summer goes along. This particular live stream will be at 4 in the afternoon Australian time, which is 8 in the morning European time, 2 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, but 11 p.m. on Saturday night on the West Coast. So if you're up at 11 o'clock and you're interested in the Australian classical music scene, this live stream will be the Australian HAYDN Ensemble playing Beethoven's Fifth. Now, you may wonder, why is a HAYDN ensemble playing Beethoven's Fifth? Well, the AHE, as they like to call themselves, specialize in period music, which they play on instruments which were available at the time the music was composed. And apparently a celebrated violinist named William Watts, a contemporary of Beethoven, did an arrangement of Beethoven's Fifth for a smaller ensemble. And that is what the HAYDN Ensemble will be playing. So this is a unique Beethoven's Fifth. They'll also do a flute quintet by Ferdinand Ries and a piece by Boccherini called Night Music of the Streets of Madrid. And this is a piece which has a lot of variety in it because it's like a tone poem kind of thing, all the music and the sounds you hear in the streets of Madrid. But the interesting thing about it is, in this composition, the bass players, the great big symphonic bass players, were instructed to strum the bass the way you'd strum a guitar. And I'm sure the HAYDN Ensemble will be following that instruction because they put it in the program notes. A little later in the day from Australia, 7 p.m. Australian time, 11 o'clock Central European time, so people can watch it here in Europe, 5 a.m. on the East Coast in the U.S., but late night on the West Coast, 2 a.m., Saturday to Sunday night. They will be live streaming the Willoughby Symphony Orchestra and Choir. It's a huge choir, performing Die Schöpfung of Joseph Haydn. So Haydn is back. That's also known as The Creation to the English speakers. And it's about the creation of the world based on the book of Genesis, the Psalms, and throwing in Milton's Paradise Lost. Why not? This is the oratory. You may sometime have heard the lovely tenor aria, Mit Wind und Trockenheit angetan, la di 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 di, etc. I'm not going to sing every live stream I do, but I could give you that little one in case some of you notice it. That's what it makes me think of. And there will be 3 well-known Australian soloists who you might want to discover in this production. Susanna Lauergren, a soprano, Joshua Oxley is the tenor, and Tristan Entwistle is the bass. So you might think that was just about it for Sunday, but no, that's not it. There is more. There are 2 organ recitals taking place this Sunday, live streamed, which we are so happy to tell you about. One of them is an organ recital by Thomas Hospital at the Saint Eustache Church in Paris. Now, Hospital is a young organist, but he has very quickly earned this prestigious place as the titulaire at Saint Eustache Church, which has the largest pipe organ in all of France. So it's a big deal, and it has a glorious sound. He's also the organist in residence at Radio France, the Maison de la Radio, and he's an organ professor at the Paris Conservatory. So he's kind of hot stuff. The program consists entirely of selections from J.S. Bach. I'm not going to list them all for you, but we did put out a written announcement in which those details are included if you want to check one of our social media pages like Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram. But he will be playing the Prelude and Fugue in G major by Bach, if that interests you. And that's free of charge, that live stream. As was, by the way, the Elbphilharmonie with Alan Gilbert. That too is free of charge. So you got 2 free of charge live streams this weekend. And those are the kinds we really like. Then finally, there's one last live stream from the Sibiu International Theatre Festival. Bless their hearts. I have been involved with them a few years ago. We did some live streaming. My little company did some live streaming of their performing arts market back in 2019. And this organ recital is Laszlo Christofi at St. Maria Evangelical Lutheran Cathedral. And forgive me if I pronounced Christofi's name incorrectly. He's the organist of the Roman Catholic Cathedral of Oradea in Romania. And he'll be playing a very diverse selection: Vivaldi, Bach, Haydn, Mendelssohn, and Franz Liszt, and other things. Now, this could be a really good recital because it's been picked out as one of the best this month by the International Online Organ Festival, which is an organization devoted to organ music online, both live streamed and otherwise. But we're only interested in the live streaming, and we will put the link to their page in with all the other links for you in case you want to follow it, because they come up with a list every month of the 5 best live streams on the organ that are coming out. And that's at 6 o'clock Central European time, noon on the East Coast in the US, and 9 in the morning on the West Coast. Again, perfectly respectable hours in the United States for hearing an organ recital, Sunday morning. That's it for this weekend. Let me encourage you again to follow us on one of our social media pages, to repost announcements, to help us gather together the enormous global audience so that we can render online performing arts, live performing arts online, financially sustainable. Have a good weekend. Ciao for now. Enjoy the live stream music. I know I will.